My name's Hugh Riley. I'm the Secretary General for the Caribbean Tourism Organization. I represent 33 countries in the Caribbean region.
Hugh, we're here at the World Travel Market, here at the Ministers' Summit. What are the major issues that have come out of this for you as the head of the CTO?
I think one of the major advantages of being here is that we get to do business with the world. It is the World Tourism. Well, first of all, it's WTM, so it's World Travel Market, and it's in London, but one could get the somewhat misguided impression that it's really only about business in this part of the world, and that is not true. We have been very heartened by the fact that we've seen the whole world here at WTM in very large numbers. So 2 points to make there. First of all, we're happy about the quantity, because that in itself was a source of some concern coming into the show, and we're extremely happy about the quality of the business that we're doing here. So it's clear that the tourism community from around the world has come to WTM with a great deal of confidence and a great deal of expectation, and I think that we're happy to be a part of that entire milieu.
Ministers' Summit, some of the initial points that came out of that, maybe lobbying against APD, move to the green economy. What do you see as some of the major issues from the summit that you've just been to?
Well, I think you've really just touched the nail on the head there. Competitiveness is something that affects all of us, and anything that threatens the competitiveness of the industry that we're in will get our attention fairly quickly. Now, we're in the Caribbean. We are the most tourism-dependent region in the world. Some of our member countries are dependent upon tourism for upwards of 50% of their GDP. So for us, it's big business. So anything that tends to get in the way of keeping us competitive will, of course, affect our bottom line. And the air passenger duty is one of those issues that will substantially, if it were to be implemented at the level that is proposed by the UK government, will substantially affect our bottom line. Now, we aren't saying this on a speculative basis. We know from research, we know from surveying 1,700 visitors to the Caribbean just several months ago, we know what the propensity to come back to the Caribbean will be like, how that will be substantially affected if the price of an airline ticket into the Caribbean is increased by an appreciable amount, which of course it would be if the APD were to be imposed upon us for 2010.
Looking forwards, we've got Copenhagen coming up, we've got COP15. What's the CTO stance? You've talked about barriers to growth, barriers to development. How important it is, I think, in your mind, is it to have development before perhaps a lot of economies can look to greening their economy? How important do you think that is?
I think they're parallel tracks. I think you can't really do one without the other. I think you must especially keep that balance between economic development, economic activity, that after all is the livelihood of our people. It creates jobs, it does poverty alleviation, it keeps us going, and sustaining the environment for our children and our grandchildren, for future generations. So I don't think it's one or the other. I think it's an important factor to keep the balance. Now, we talk a lot about the green economy, and there must be an antithesis there somewhere. So I imagine that if we're going towards the green economy, we must be going away from the brown economy. The Caribbean isn't yet as green as we want to be, but we certainly are closer to being green than we ever were to being brown, because brown is really the term that's attached to the industrialized nations. So there's no question that all of us who are in the tourism business are contributing in some way to the degradation of the planet. It is the responsibility of all of us to try and mitigate that. And the Caribbean's been doing that, I think, fairly effectively in a number of very important ways. We've aligned ourselves with international bodies that are doing that, and we have ourselves created instruments within our region to make sure that we preserve the environment.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
We've got to keep it nice and short.
Yes, I know.